In this episode, we talk about why you should stop thinking. Get excited, because this is Tiny Leaps, Big Change. Welcome to another episode of Tiny Leaps, Big Changes, where I share simple strategies you can use to get more out of your life. My name is Gregg Clunis, and I was going for a run the other day. It was honestly kind of like a tougher run for some reason. Actually, side note, ended up getting a migraine afterwards. So that's probably why. But it was hard. And while I was running, I kept having this like chant in my head, like something I sort of just latched onto during the run in order to help myself push through, help myself go a little bit faster, tackle the next hill, like all of these moments where I just wanted to sort of stop, right? I had this mantra playing over and over in my head, this thing that I just made up in that moment. And it was, I don't think, comma, I can, right? So I started playing in my head with this idea of turning I don't think I can into I don't think, comma, I can. And it completely shifts the meaning of the statement. So whenever I would be looking at the next hill, right, and it's intimidating and I'm struggling and I'm breathing heavy, the phrase would come into my head. I don't think I can. I don't think I can do this next hill. I don't think I can push through this. And all I would do is add a comma and repeat that in my head over and over and over again. And you know what? It actually helped. As a mantra, it actually helped me in that moment to push through. So I got done with the run and I was super excited. I was like, oh wow, this really helped me. I should share this with Tiny Leaps listeners. And I wrote it down in my little log of episode ideas. And I came back to it a few days later and I just felt like, you know what? It's kind of nothing. You know, like, yeah, it helped me. It's cool as a mantra. Feel free to use it if you want to. But there's not really enough there for a full episode. So I'm going to be honest with you. I almost didn't make this episode. I almost deleted that idea. And I'm going to do another episode on that process here in a little bit, why you shouldn't delete your ideas. But I almost did. I almost deleted that idea because I judged it, because I looked at it and I was just like, there's nothing really here. There's nothing that valuable that I can really share with listeners. And while I was going through that process, I was deleting it, I was literally hitting the backspace. I think the only letter left in the sentence, if I wrote the sentence like, I don't think I can, turns into I don't think, comma, I can. I think the only letter left was the letter I. Like, it was literally the last. And then I stopped and I thought for a second and I realized something. Maybe it has value as a conversation starter, not necessarily as an idea in and of itself, not necessarily as the takeaway, but maybe as a conversation starter. So that's what I want to talk about today. How is it that we can turn I don't think I can into I don't think, comma, I can? And before we get into the episode, I want to remind you that we have a thriving community building over on Discord. If you want to join other podcast listeners, other listeners of this show, other listeners of Happy Brain with Heather Parody, if you want to join us, connect with us, talk to us directly, Heather and I are super active in there, so you can connect with the hosts of your favorite shows. If you want that, all you have to do is head over to tlbc.co/community or click the link in the description of this episode. So let's talk through this idea of turning I don't think I can into I don't think, comma, I can. We often convince ourselves that we can't do something. You know, we have an idea, we have a thought, we have a thing that we want, a goal, a desire, an outcome we want to create for our lives. And maybe we're excited to begin with. Maybe we're really just like jazzed by this idea, by the possibility. We start picturing what our life would look like if we actually did this thing. And somewhere along the way, we start thinking about it. And when we start thinking about it, we do something really interesting. Humans have this weird capacity to convince ourselves that something isn't worth it, or that we're not capable, or that someone is going to make fun of us, or that it's a bad idea, or that we're just not good enough. or that we're not smart enough, or we don't know enough, or of course we're not capable of it. We failed so much in the past. We get into this like weird habit of thinking about things and in that process convincing ourselves that we shouldn't do it. We add thought to the process, and more often than not, we end up just leaving the idea alone. Yeah, we were excited. Yeah, it was cool. But you know what? The life we have is great. It's fine. It's whatever. I couldn't do that anyway. That's just not for me. That's not the story I have. That's not what I was meant for, what I was destined for. We start convincing ourselves, and to the point that we actually make ourselves feel good about not doing it. You know? Like, this is something I've done for myself a lot. I used to, and still in many ways, have a problem of like quitting ideas too quickly, right? Quitting before they have a chance of succeeding. And what I'll do in that process is I'll start the thing, I'll be excited, I'll be pumped for it. I'm like so jazzed by it, right? And then as soon as I start to get bored, or I start to run into roadblocks and feel like I'm not good enough, I start thinking about it. When I start thinking about it, I go through so many hurdles, so many steps to convince myself that this wasn't the right thing anyway. I shouldn't be wasting my time on this. I'm better than doing just this. I could do so much more. And I get myself back to this place of doing nothing because I think that I shouldn't waste my time on this thing, even though I was so excited about it, even though I was so pumped to do it at first. As soon as it feels tough, as soon as it feels like a challenge, I somehow convince myself that it just wasn't the right thing. And so it's a good thing that I'm quitting. It's a good thing that I'm not doing it. Because otherwise I'd be wasting my time. Otherwise I would be facing failure. Otherwise I would be closing myself off from other opportunities. How many times have you told yourself that? How many times have you not done something because you're so worried that if it's the wrong thing, you're going to be wasting your time? Humans are super weird, man. We convince ourselves of insane things, and we make ourselves feel good while doing it. When ultimately what we're actually doing, like I said a few episodes ago, is holding ourselves back. Somehow, in the process of thinking about something, we manage to take what was excitement and turn it into doubt. And in that process, we kill off any chance that that thing will ever happen, that we'll ever be consistent with it, that it'll ever be a part of our lives. It's scary because we often don't even realize that we're doing it. Like I said, we convince ourselves that it's the right thing to do. What we originally wanted to do through any number of paths becomes, I don't think I can. It stops being, I'm really excited for this. It stops being, wow, this is really cool, and starts being, you know what, I don't think I can. But what if we added that comma? What if we changed the meaning of that sentence? Instead of I don't think I can, it becomes I don't think I can. It becomes I don't think about it anymore. I know I can. Maybe it's not going to be perfect. Maybe I don't fully know everything I need to know. Maybe I'm not fully prepared. Maybe I'm not even positive if this is the right way or not. But I don't think anymore. I know I can. I can do this. I am capable. Whatever I need to learn, I'll learn because I can learn it. Whatever I need to sacrifice, I'll sacrifice because I can sacrifice it. I can do whatever it is. All that we did is add a little comma into the sentence, and it shifts the meaning completely. We no longer spend any time thinking about it. We no longer spend any time worrying about it. We just do it because we know that we can. And along the way, we're going to run into roadblocks. Along the way, we're going to have to learn new things. Along the way, we're going to have to figure it out. But we do it because we know that we can. And what's insane when I really sit down and think about it is everything that is great in my life came from this. I met Rachel originally in college, junior year of college. And that came from 30 seconds where I convinced my feet to walk and convinced my mouth to speak before I could stop to think about it. Had I stopped to think about it, I don't know if I would have had the courage to say hi. I don't know if I would have had the courage to introduce myself, to ask her out. It came because I just did it. I didn't think about it. And now we're engaged. We're getting married in about 1.5 years. I started this podcast almost immediately. There was something that frustrated me. An event happened that frustrated me with the personal development industry. And a week later, I had this podcast. I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't give myself time to sit and plan and worry about all the details and what do I know? What do I not know? I just started it. And every day since then, I've had to learn what I need to learn in order to keep it going. But that's how things happen. It's never been about being prepared. It's never been about having all the ideas. It's always been about starting and being confident enough in yourself to be able to figure it out. That's how change happens. That's how we do anything in this world. Learning along the way is the norm. No one out there knows what they need to know. Even experts don't know what they need to know. The best surgeon in the world goes into surgery knowing some information about what they might need to do. But they need to be able to learn on the fly. They need to be able to figure out this particular situation in the moment. That's how things work. Our jobs prior to that, of course, is how well can we prepare ourselves. But it doesn't matter. We need to start at some point. Fast forward almost 6 years later, this podcast has been listened to 40 million times all around the world in pretty much every country there is. It's been turned into a book that you can find in stores all around the US. And that's all because I started without thinking. So stop thinking. Because when you think, your ideas turn into, I don't think I can. When you allow yourself to just go, when you allow yourself to just do, when you give yourself the gift of action, I don't think I can turns into, I don't think, comma, I can. Be confident in that and figure it out along the way, just like everyone else is doing. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that you found some value in this. And if you did, I'd love to connect with you in our community. Find the podcast community over at tlbc.co/community or click the link in the description of this episode. Thank you for being here. I've been Gregg Clunis. And remember that all big changes come from the tiny leaps you take every day.